Hey, I'm Dave, and you're listening to another episode of Dying to Listen podcast. And this is a special edition, Business, where we're going to talk about the business side of things about disc dyeing, the fun stuff that you most likely do not like. But we want to provide you guys with insights of how some of the most popular disc dyers run their business. So if you are interested in taking your hobby up to the next level and actually making it a business to see if it's actually something that you would like to do or want to do, you can hear what other dyers have done and kind of model some ideas off of that. And today we have Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes joining us. Hello.
Howdy.
So she says she's an imposter. I disagree. The qualifications for her is she actually does run a business, disc dyeing business, as well as a, what you call it?
It's a disc golf shop as well as a smoke and vape shop.
So you have a little bit of experience with that. And how long have you been running that business, or when did you start that business?
9 years ago.
9 years ago?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
My daughter was 6 months old. That's the only reason I can remember.
Okay. Well, if you're still in business this long, you must be doing something right. So that's good. And where are you located?
Platteville, Wisconsin is our first location. And then about 3 years ago, we opened up a second location in Galena, Illinois.
Okay. See, she has two businesses. So
fancy.
She might have some valuable insight. But we're going to talk specifically about disc dyeing, but you can obviously relate to your business, I guess you can call it the real business. So I guess, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into disc dyeing, to give a little background on that?
Sure. I'm definitely a COVID dyer. I think my husband really found it, came across it online, the whole disc dyeing thing, and just got some supplies and was like, hey, should we try this thing out? And, we just dyed a few of our old discs we had laying around. And it was like, as soon as I put it in the bed, we did lotion beds first. And I was like, I want to do another one, immediately. And then we got worm dip, and we're doing spin dyes too. And it was just like, this is pretty fun, and that was the beginning of it all. Just a casual, let's have a little hobby besides disc golfing.
Nice. Well, I guess it's cool that Marc does it. He's all right. No, he's a nice guy and does some good dyes as well. But at what point did you want to turn this hobby into an actual business? What was the turning point in that?
Yeah, it really kind of happened organically, where it was like, all right, we've dyed our discs, we've got a bunch in our bag, and then a friend or two is like, hey, you want to dye one of my discs? And then it just kind of naturally grew from there, where it became, I wanted to keep dyeing, and in order to do that, I needed more discs. So it was either I buy them or people give them to me, and it just sort of grew on its own like that.
Do you remember the first sale that you've done?
First sale
for disc dyeing?
No, not really. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Fantastic. Well, you can't hang up your first dollar anymore, so there's that.
It was probably a buddy. Probably threw me $5 or something. It's probably not a real business arrangement.
So, I guess there was no real turning point. It's you just kind of slowly started doing it. You weren't like, I'm going to make this into a business.
Yeah. I think it just slowly happened over time.
Nice. So you said you started during COVID for disc dyeing in general. I know it's hard to pinpoint, but when could you say that you actually made it a business?
I think my intention for business started probably around the time I was like, I'm going to start posting these on Instagram, because I never really used Instagram before. I had 3 pictures on there, over the year. And I was like, oh, all these other disc dyers have dye names. So I'm going to come up with a dye name. And I started making a list in my phone of ideas. And then I think once I started the Instagram, it's like now I can get my name out there and maybe kind of get more people buying discs from me.
So I think we mentioned this in your actual podcast, but how did you come up with Ugly Hand Dyes?
I don't have an actual podcast, Dave.
What?
No, you've never podcasted me.
Well, that's got to
This is
change.
it. This is the moment.
I could have sworn we did a podcast.
Well, we did a video.
Okay.
What was the question?
How did you come up with your name?
Oh, Ugly Hand Dyes. So a lot of my videos were just like my hands, as like how-to videos with discs. And first of all, sausage fingers that are like, they've been wrinkly since I was 10. But it was really just kind of I always have like Band-Aids on my finger from washing all these discs and they're cracking and dry. And I'm just like, it's just a fun, silly thing. And I'm a huge fan of Atmosphere. Familiar with Atmosphere? And he has like this God loves ugly kind of thing. So ugly has always been kind of a fun play on that, I guess. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, how do you think that business name helps your disc dyeing business or not?
If anything, it maybe stands out because it's different.
Yeah.
It's like you see a lot of like puns and stuff, which I was playing around with that. I love those. They're great. But I kind of wanted to just like be a little mysterious, I guess.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to stand out nowadays with all the disc dyers out there. So, yeah. And maybe I'm so used to the name, but I feel like it is very fitting for your personality.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's like, if you're looking for something basic, I'm probably not your person.
Yes.
I like weird and unusual.
Exactly. So that fits your demeanor and your style very well.
Yeah.
So there you go. Pick a name that fits you.
Yeah, I think that's a good tip. Like, capture your character or your style with your name, and then people kind of will relate that name to your discs.
Yes. And I've had many lists of business names, like for my disc dyeing and even for the Dyers Guild. You have to match it to your personality, but also make it relevant to the industry that you're in. So that, it's not just some random name like, oh, they dye discs, that you kind of put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's a little bit harder to, like, oh, they dye discs. I didn't know that type thing. So, yeah. Great. I'm going to ask this question, but I don't know if it's going to be totally applicable. It's a hard word. What were your first steps you took to set up your disc dyeing business?
Right. Because I already have a business in the disc golf industry, I did not have to repeat this motion. But if somebody was going to start a disc dyeing business, I would say the first step is to get an EIN. Once you have an EIN, you can buy things wholesale. This saves you a lot of money. Getting that EIN is probably a good choice if you are going to move forward with a business, so you can get discs cheaper. And then the name, that number, any sort of licensing and you might need would be pretty good to do to make it official. And then marketing stuff, stickers and a logo. So the way I got my logo was one of my first sales. This guy was like, he got some discs from me, and then he's like, hey, if you dye X amount of discs more for me, I could design you a logo. And I was like, cool, let's do that.
Nice.
So use your resources.
Yeah, it's always good to do a trade for work, so you don't have to have any monetary exchange.
Especially when you're first starting off. Any business is going to take a while to profit. So
yes,
Got to use what you got.
And speaking of logos, I'm not disking people that do this. Like, have an actual logo, not a picture of a dyed disc. I say that because it's hard to distinguish yourself from other dyers because it's just a picture of a dyed disc unless you have like a super really unique style.
Yeah.
And it also makes you more professional.
Mm-hmm.
People take you a little bit more seriously. So for me, that's really important to have that professional appearance. So everything is, professional looking and very professional. I need to take a drink every time I say professional.
Should it be professional, Dave?
Yes.
Should it be professional?
So a good logo. I would also recommend taking the time and money to make just a very simple website. Then you have a place to direct people that is yours rather than some other marketplaces, because you can showcase what you want. Then I would also recommend getting an email name with that domain name for your website. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So that was a lot of stuff. And
That sounds really professional.
Yes, it is. I've done this many times. It sounds like a lot of stuff and it sounds really hard. It's not. I know it can seem overwhelming. And if anybody has any questions of how to do any of that stuff, I'm always available to answer those questions.
Dave is really good at that stuff.
I'm all right. Hey, it's Future Dave here. And if you're tuning in, you're probably serious about taking your disc dyeing hobby to the next level. Well, I got something just for you, the Disc Dyers Business Builder. It is your all-in-one solution to kickstart or level up your business. With your own dedicated website to sell your creations, a streamlined commission management system, tools for vending at events with real-time inventory management, a full suite of print and digital marketing templates, and a personal business consultation with experts with over 17 years of experience. This is everything you need to succeed. Are you ready to make it happen? Sign up now to stay in the loop and start building your dream business. Head over to dyersguild.co/businessbuilder and let's get started. But back to your business, I'm curious. So you had a business that you basically, the disc dyeing is just another part of that business. So you don't have a separate thing. So did you create a doing business as, or is it still technically run under so your business name is the Underground, right?
Well, the business name is the Underground, yes. Basically, I buy my discs using the Underground's information. It's a little gray right now.
Yeah.
It's a little gray.
Just let me know if I have to edit anything out.
I don't want to incriminate myself.
Yes.
I don't think we are arguably profitable yet. So the expenses, all these discs have cost a good amount. So yeah, probably just edit all of that out.
Well, I mean, it's still for the Underground because it is a disc golf shop where you do sell discs. So you do have to buy the discs anyways. You just buy white dyeable discs to make some other dye disc side cash for that business. So
yes. And we also sell dyed discs at the shop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And a lot of we dabbled in it at first, and now we've been redabbling in it. But a lot of our customers and clients come from the shop, right? It's people that shop there and they buy a white disc and go, hey, will you dye this for me? I want this specific thing. So it's good.
So you do have that physical retail space, which is very unique. Do you think that helps you with your dye business? Like you said, with people coming in and looking at the white discs and saying, hey, can you dye this type of thing?
I think you can network just as easily by disc golfing. There are benefits, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend somebody else get a retail space for just disc dyes. But if you had a retail space that also had discs, I think that could be more profitable. Diversifying your business any way you can. If you are going to make this a full-time thing, having actual discs for sale would probably help you make it profitable. So
Yes.
if you're just doing disc dyes, online is the way to go.
Makes sense. How profitable do you think your actual disc sales are? Not your dye discs, but the discs that you have in the shop.
Without the rest of the shop, the smoke and vape area, I would not be making as much money. So having a variety in there is super beneficial.
Yeah. Like you said, diversifying, not having all your eggs in one basket. Because I know the margins on discs are very, very small relative to things. It's
pretty similar all across the shop, percentage wise, but quantity wise and whatnot and repeat. I mean, discs are okay, but you definitely going online is helpful. You know, just selling them in more way than one is good. And I'm in a small area, so somebody in a city would be a completely different situation.
Yeah. I mean, you are a college town, so does that help?
It does, but it's seasonal, right? They're gone all summer, which is when people disc golf.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Prime season, and they're gone. Well, shit.
Yeah.
I honestly never thought about that.
We do have customers that'll be like, hey, can you hold this for me till I get back? You know, so we have like these stacks of things on hold and whatnot.
When is your busy season?
Our busy season is fall through spring. But fall is really busy when the students all come back. And then like tax season is really good for us. People get tax returns and they buy themselves a little present.
Nice.
And Christmas is pretty good, you know, people buying gifts.
Nice. But I never thought about the summer vacation. I was like,
so our second location is in a summer tourist place. So we specifically put it there so that it would balance out our busy season out here.
Business.
We're thinking.
All right. Another question, which I have a bunch. What kind of initial investment, like time, money, and resources, was required to get started?
I think, again, this was kind of an organic growth for me because it was like we started with some supplies at home. Then we upgraded our computer. Then we bought the Cameo. And it was like a slow, progressive growth. And then a big chunk of the money, if you are going to take this seriously, is investing in blank white discs that you can have available on hand without hunting them down and getting them wholesale. So, I mean, depending on how many white discs you'd want to have on hand, it could probably $10,000 would be a decent investment to start with.
Yes. I mean,
if you want to just like go full business. But I think you could start with a lot less. Yeah.
So on average, what is a cost for a white dyeable disc wholesale?
About $10.50.
Yeah.
$10 to $12.
Gotcha. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll just bleep it out. Well, I wanted to know. But yeah, the discs wholesale are the way to go. And like you said, getting that EIN number to get the wholesale accounts through almost all manufacturers. You are somewhat lucky because you can get Innova because Innova requires a brick and mortar.
Correct.
That's the only thing we can't get. Have you found any other manufacturers like that?
Nope.
Yep, just Innova.
Yeah. And I think they're the ones too that like limited edition stuff is so expensive you can't make money off of it if it's even available to you. So things are spotty.
Yeah. And with wholesale, there is a minimum order amount. So you can't just buy like one at wholesale. You have to bulk buy, and you are also limited on what they have on hand for supply. And sometimes you can say, hey, I want white ones, but not necessarily get them all the time. So
correct. The hardest thing is you cannot request colors when you're buying wholesale. So you basically have to buy the Dyer's Delight type things. And each company tends to release 2, 3, 4 different molds at a time that are available in blank white. So basically you have to stock up on those when they release them, because they're only going to release it like once a year, let's say. And then the next time they release Dyers Delights, it's going to be a different mold. So now you got to stock up on that and have enough to last you until they release it again.
Yes.
So that's where the expenses get higher, is each time they release white discs, you have to grab them while you can and get enough.
And they may not even release those again. You never know.
You just don't know. You have no idea.
Again, like my experience with MVP is like they have like 2 or 3 new ones that they release, and you have to get them because you never know if they're going to be released again. And they do seem to go out or sell out pretty fast.
They do, really fast.
But it is nice that the manufacturers are having those options. How was it in the beginning with wholesaling and trying to get white discs?
In the beginning, I was picking out all the white discs we got at the shop and wiping stamps and just hoarding whatever I could find in white or light colored. I did a lot of dyes that were not on white discs. And now I'm so spoiled. I'm like, I do not want to do discs that aren't white. So
Kids nowadays got it so easy. Back in my day, I had to pick through 100 discs to find a white one.
Yeah. Yeah. And we would, say like, can we get some white discs? And they're like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the disc manufacturers are kind of getting the hint that disc dyeing isn't necessarily going anywhere.
Yeah. I'm super thankful for all of the white disc releases that we have. I hear people complain about certain things, and I'm just like, hey, at least they exist.
This is very true. Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about a different topic, and that is going to be marketing and customer acquisition. That sounds really businessy.
So professional.
Yes, we're professional. Professional. So, how did you initially market your disc dyeing business and attract your first customer?
I think it was Instagram. I think really that just trying to like show what I'm doing. I think I did do a couple like dollar auction type things too. But I think Instagram is really, there's so many disc golfers on there. It seems to be the platform that a lot of disc golfers are using. I have a Facebook page too, but it doesn't get nearly as much attention as the Instagram, and it's posting the same thing on both of them.
Yeah.
But I did start the Instagram first, but I think that's hugely beneficial.
Yeah. We'll get in a little bit more about the socials in a little bit. But yeah, Instagram seems the popular choice for disc golf and disc dyeing of where the eyeballs are at.
Yeah, and word of mouth too, like showing people while you're out disc golfing, hey, I made this, and then they're like, oh, make me one, and like that kind of networking is really good too, at least for getting started.
Yeah, networking is very important. How else have you gotten your name out there, if anything?
Like donating to tournaments, like local leagues, local tournaments, things like that. CTPs or trophies, things like that is a really good way to get your area aware of you, and start getting your name out there. Yeah, mostly local and social media.
So I know you kind of touched on it, but what has been the most effective way of getting your name out there?
Yeah, for me, it's been Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. What kind of content have you been posting on Instagram? And speaking to Instagram specifically, what have you noticed that had gotten the most traction for getting, engagements and people following your profile, besides just having awesome artwork?
So I'll be honest here. I have no idea. It's really random and chaotic, but I am random and chaotic. And I'm also not trying to market myself much more at this point because I have stayed busy and I am running 2 businesses and I am a mom. So I've kind of reached a wall of like, I can't really take on more as much as I would love to. So I think posting every day is super helpful. I don't really do that anymore. Maybe for a month I did it, a whole month. I don't know. I'm not a social media person. Like I said, I never really used Instagram before. So it's a big time investment. And if someone does want to take this to the business level, do not underestimate how much time you will spend in front of a screen.
Yes. Well, people listening, this gives you hope if you're not really social media or technologically savvy. If Brittany can do it, you can do it too.
Yes. If you're willing to.
Yeah. From my experience, the biggest thing is pumping out content. And I know people are afraid of doing that for many reasons. But pumping out the content basically keeps you front of eye with all the eyeballs. The people see you so you don't get lost or hidden, and you're front of mind. And the other thing that I'm going to be probably keep bringing up in all these episodes is I personally think the biggest thing to help you stand out and make your business more relatable is showing your face. To have a personality behind your artwork, not just a bunch of discs. You want to tell your story for people to relate to you. So you don't have to make up a story. You can be just your authentic self. And there will be people that relate to that. And those are the customers you want, obviously, because you guys relate and you understand the style and the personality is the same thing. So I know it's extremely hard to be in front of the camera. Take it from me as an example. I hated being in front of the camera. Like I sucked so bad. I think I still do. But it's just like disc dyeing or disc golf. Practice makes perfect. So the more times you do it, the better you get at it. So again, showing your face, not just your artwork on the social media, helps. If
I
you're
couldn't agree more.
If you're a woman, that probably also helps more as well.
I still get called dude and stuff a lot, but you are the one that encouraged me to do that. If you look at the beginning of my Instagram, there will not be any me at all. And then Dave's like, you guys got to get your faces out there. People need to know who you are. Like, and it's so true. If you look at things that are going viral right now, it's people just like doing regular daily things and like complaining about it or whatever. Or like just people relate to that, and that's who's making it right now, is the people who are their authentic selves, and someone just relates to that and shares it, and all of a sudden it becomes big. So yeah. I agree.
There's a quote that I heard that I'm probably gonna mess this up, but people don't buy your artwork, they buy, this is where I get it messed up, they buy you, your persona type thing. So
yeah. There's a lot of truth to that.
So practice makes perfect. Just you can record yourself a bunch of times. You'll get used to it. You don't have to post it if you don't want. Just do it. So I guarantee it will help you.
Yeah. If you would have told me 2 years ago that I was going to have a microphone and a camera, I would have laughed at your face. Like, no way. No way. I'm so not that person. And practice has helped me. Mm-hmm. Dave's encouragement has helped me.
Yes.
And it gets easier.
It does. I feel like I'm better in front of a camera than in person. So there's that.
You too could be better in front of a camera.
Yes. All right. Next question. Have you developed any partnerships with disc golf brands or tournaments or any other type of partnerships that have benefited you disc dyeing wise?
Nothing official. Like I said, just kind of donating or partnering with like leagues or competitions and whatnot. Just kind of smaller local things.
Don't you run a league?
So many.
See?
So we're running a youth league right now with the city. We started an adult league also this year with the city. Marc does a casual Monday night league. That's not really advertised. Yeah, I haven't really done a ton of dye stuff for that, just kind of occasional CTP and whatnot, but it's definitely getting my brand out there. They know about the underground. The kids are coming up like, I got this at the underground.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Some paraphernalia.
Well, we have the disc golf stuff on one side and the paraphernalia on the other side. So there's like some separation so parents can decide how they want to approach that situation. I would love to have it separate, but money.
But yeah, doing that, donating to CTP, getting involved into your local disc golf scene helps out a lot. I know you can check out some past podcasts of other dyers who have gotten really ingrained into the tournament scene that has helped out their business. And there may be some other future people that we'll be talking to that might have a little bit more experience on that. But yeah, being sociable is like really beneficial, I guess.
Not my strong suit, folks. Not my strong suit.
Mine either. So I'll just be behind the computer. So you mentioned selling discs online. What platforms do you use to sell your discs and why?
Dyersguild.co is one of my favorites. It's really nice to post on, super user friendly. And as I said, I'm not tech savvy. And then you also have like a personal assistant if you have questions who will help you.
Yes, I will help.
It's Dave. It's like less fees. It's very nice. I also use Etsy. I started Etsy before Dyers Guild, so I had already had a lot of traction there. I would love to switch over to only the Dyers Guild or have my own website, but right now those two things are working for me, and I'm doing a lot of commissions, so I haven't had as many just like, this is what I made and it's for sale. Partially because I've been doing events with the Dyers Guild, which has been fun and keeping me busy. And that is one thing I did kind of want to touch on is doing events, whether it's a local tournament or, I don't know, farmer's market or whatever, just some sort of getting your discs out there in front of people is a really great way to like sell a lot at once. So you get like a lot more money at one time rather than like every day I sold 1 or 2 discs and I'm going to the post office and now my costs are higher because I have to ship it. Getting out to those events is absolutely worth it. And it's really good for networking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since we're on the topic of vending at events, we'll side table the online stuff for a second. But for vending at events, what have you found to be the most successful? I know this is going to be kind of a broad question we can kind of narrow down, but like, what do you do to prepare for events? Like, how many discs do you bring? Like, what kind of setup and any other tips and tricks that you could provide?
Yeah. Bring as many discs as you can. It's good to have a variety of prices. So make some simple discs that are maybe glue beds or just like singular simple stencils, like things that you can sell for cheaper. Sometimes we have a bin of like, these have been sitting around for a while and they're fading, so we have like $15-$20 dyes, and then it goes all the way up in price to more detailed expensive stuff that people see and they're like, I have to have this. So having a variety is really nice. Definitely have stickers and business cards so that people see your work and maybe they don't have the money to buy it then, or they have an idea. They'll contact you later, maybe give you a follow, whatever. It's a really great way to network, and it's a good way to get your face and personality out there. So people are like, oh, we vibe. I'm going to buy a disc from you, you know, like you said.
Yeah. Again, another way to have that human face interaction for people to understand more about you.
And they'll ask questions like, how long does this take? And how did you learn this? And why are your colors so vibrant? And then you can give them the details of like, this is, you know, it's taken me this long, or they have more appreciation for the efforts you're putting in rather than just seeing a picture of it and being like, that's cool.
What events have you vended at? Like, let me rephrase that. Have you vended at any other events that were not disc golf related?
Well, we do a pyro picnic type. So it's like a live glass blowing thing that we do at my own shop. And I've done like live demos there. And it's really more glass oriented, but we just call it like an art fair. And we have other artists come too. I've done that. But really, it's mostly been, I think it's all been disc golf related events.
Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing because I guess your target audience are at disc golf events. But another thing to consider is really any other type of event. Like if you have any art type events or if you have, I'm trying to think, there was one in Milwaukee. It's kind of just like not a street fair, but just a market that like you can really sell market? Anything. Yeah.
Flea market type thing. I have done pride events as well. But yes, for me, it's more of a time thing. Like my weekends are very precious and very full.
Yeah.
But if I had more time, I would definitely do like farmers market and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth it.
The nice thing about those events is you're almost going to be guaranteed the only person selling dye discs there.
Yes.
So, you know, if they're like the boyfriend or husband is going along with the wife or girlfriend and it's bored, it's like, ooh, cool dye discs. Gives them something to do.
Yeah. Or the ladies are out there and they're like, oh, my husband likes to disc golf. I should buy him a gift, you know? So it is, I think it'd absolutely be worth it.
Yes. And in my opinion, being professional about everything, I think it helps. At least I tell myself that, you know, just having a nice setup, you know, with like some nice table covers, everything all nice and professional looking. And if you can swing it, I know it can be a bit of expense, is like a custom printed canopy tent.
And if you don't have money for the custom tent, a nice printed up vinyl sign that you can hang on the tent also looks professional and is way cheaper.
Yes. And when I was trying to build out the Dyers Guild booth, I just went down a rabbit hole of what other vendors have done just to kind of get some ideas and inspiration. So definitely see what other people are doing and, you know, take some notes and ideas from that. Yeah,
I agree. And bring things that you don't know you're going to need, like binder clips, tape, rope or string. You know what's really handy is zip ties.
Yes.
Because like it's gonna be windy. You don't know. You might have to pack up really fast. Like having that extra stuff is gonna save your day.
That gave me an idea. The Dyers vendor checklist.
Yeah. We both have a checklist. I think we could nail this down pretty easily.
Yes, that's a great idea. Because Brittany even gave me some ideas that I never thought of, and she's very organized, which is great.
I'm like chaotically organized.
Yes.
So it's either I have no idea or I have every idea.
You know, when you're getting ready to vend an event, does it always feel like you're forgetting something, right? Trust me, I've been there too many times, and there is nothing worse than setting up your booth and realizing you left a critical piece of gear at home. That's why I put together a super handy dandy checklist just for you. It's got everything you need to remember, from booth essentials to those little things that can make or break your day. And the best part, it's completely free. Just head over to dyersguild.co/event checklist right now and download the free PDF checklist. With this in hand, you'll be fully prepared and ready to rock your next vending event. Again, that's dyersguild.co/event checklist. So, go check it out and take the stress out of vending. So I know you said bring a lot of discs. Like, can you quantify a number that is a good amount, something that is not too little, and something that is not like a horrid amount of too much?
I did bring 100 discs to the indoor disc golf event that we vended with you, and we did so good.
How many discs did you sell there?
That was a year ago. 6 months ago, Dave. So many things have happened since then.
A good amount.
I mean, we sold a lot. I think I would say more than half. Maybe more than half.
Nice. Yeah, I'm always debating of like how much is too much and how much is too little.
So it's nice if you can have everything visible and then maybe have some underneath that you can pull out and fill in the gaps as they go, so it keeps your stuff fresh if there's not enough room for everything. But like having everything in boxes, I think can be detrimental because people have to sit there and sift through it. At least having as much on display individually as you can is really good. And then maybe having like a sale bin of like, oh, these are the old faded ones or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question, like, how do you like to set up your booth? So you just I think
I usually
you like
just lay them flat.
Yeah.
But I really like your stands. They're like little art easel kind of stands. Those are really nice. If it gets too windy, they can fall over. So having like a row of those in the back and then everything else flat looks really nice and grabs attention. But then if the wind picks up, you can easily adapt.
Yeah, no. I'm still experimenting, and, you know, you can make the case that having it in boxes makes people stay longer to look through it, that they might be interested. Or you can make the case that they just don't want to look through something. So
I personally probably wouldn't even stop because I would get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So
that's just me.
Would like to hear everybody's thoughts on that. Is, you know, would you like to, if you were a person looking to buy a die disc, would you like to see kind of, if everything's sprawled out, to kind of see the menu of choices, or would you want to kind of pick through a box like you would at a rummage sale to see if you find a gem?
It's true. There's joy in that.
Yeah. The other thing is we do have, I think, plans for a pegboard as well as 3D printed holders for that. So if you wanted to do something like that, you can. So it's like a triangle display that you can do that, or you can even buy wire freestanding stuff that you can bring to events. Like, again, if you're a wholesaler account, you can get that on the wholesaler sites, which is something I would like to try as well.
That pegboard looked really nice. It was like you could see everything. You could space it and adapt it however you wanted. I really like that design.
Yeah, it is nice. The only downside is it takes a few more seconds to take up and down than I wanted to. I've been eyeing up like those wire A-frames that some of the disc golf shops have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make it less, the wire would be lighter and easier.
I'm trying to make things more efficient for Austin. Yes. Yeah. Do you have anything else specific about vending at events?
It's also just a really fun experience, and I think it's like a little bit of a confidence booster to actually like interact with people and see their reactions is really nice, because you get likes on social media, but you don't get that like, oh my God, how did you do this? Like, it's nice. It's just good for the soul, I think, to be out and not hiding behind a screen and meeting people. It's nice.
Yes. I'm sad that I can't make it to more events, but the events that I have made to has definitely been a fun experience, because people come up saying like, oh, this is so great of what you're doing. And yeah, the positive affirmation helps.
Yes.
Instead of like. So yeah. I'm just trying to think of anything else specific to vending. Like, how big of a space would you recommend?
The bigger the better.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you can get by with like a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12. It depends on what your neighbor situation is, but if you can do a couple tables, kind of make a little like U around yourself, that's nice.
So, question for you. Do you like booths that have a U where it basically you, the vendors, kind of inside that horseshoe? Or do you like to have something where the user gets to go inside the tent and inside the U?
Oh, right. I think I like having the space around me, but I usually have like kids coming in and out like, I need money for a hot dog, and like having a space for like a chair and like your money box. It feels more secure if you're behind a table.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's kind of a woman thing too, is like having a little secure spot.
Yeah. I've heard people say that it's harder for people to go inside of a tent because it's kind of like intimidating and, whatever, and having
I
stuff
relate to that.
Yeah.
For us antisocials, it's like I have to like commit to like being in there.
Yes.
And that's a lot.
And that brings up another topic that I wanted to mention is I know I am not social at all, but anybody that walks by the tent and looks, I'm like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And usually they nod and
engage.
Engage. And sometimes they stop to talk more that could lead to a sale that you necessarily wouldn't have had. So anybody that walks by, looks, glances like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Just say hi.
Yes. And since we do dyeing on site, we do have a record player that has a community dye. In one line.
We broke it.
What was that?
You did have a record player. We broke it. It fried.
That's okay because I get like 4 more here. But the line that I've been using that has been getting some chuckles is like, hey, would you like to do a line? Just
sold.
Yeah. So
do you say that to the children?
No. I mean, I do, but not intentionally in that, naughty context.
Okay. Yeah, having fun little things like that.
Yeah.
That draw people's attention and make you approachable is good.
Mm-hmm. And any kind of interactive thing, I think, can help. Like that is related to what you're selling. That's why I like having that community spin dye, so they can just do a quick line, and they can say that they dyed a discs. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like, here's a giant wheel to spin to win a prize type thing. I mean, it could work. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. Like less gimmicky, more personal is good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you haven't vended, try vending.
It's super fun.
How would you recommend somebody getting into vending? Like, where and how would they find the place?
Yeah. So, like indoor disc golf events, if you're in the Midwest, they usually have like a vendor area. But I think most tournament type things, like if there's a tournament in your area, you just be like, hey, can I bring my discs and vend there like before or after? Would that be cool? And just like reach out to anybody who's doing any sort of disc golf related thing. Like put yourself out there. Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Definitely ask. Don't just show up. I say that because depending on the location, some cities or municipalities require a permit.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are. So
also sometimes it costs money to vend,
yes.
Like they already have a system in place where you have to fill out a form and pay a certain amount of money, and you gotta weigh your options on that. Like if it's really expensive, is it worth it for the marketing expense? You know?
And the price can vary from
wildly,
like say $50 to $100 all the way up to $1,000.
Seriously, always check that first.
And yeah, to see if it's worth your while. You might lose money, might break even, but you can consider it a marketing/advertising expense. So, cool. We talked about vending. Awesome. Now back to online sales.
Sure.
So thank you for the plug for the Dyers Guild website. So we do have that marketplace if you are interested. Now, my recommendation is if you can, place your discs in as many places as you can. Again, it's like diversifying and not having all your eggs in one basket. The Dyers Guild is nice because the fees are really affordable. The downside compared to say like Etsy is there isn't as much organic traffic going there. That's kind of the plus side of Etsy, which I personally don't recommend Etsy, especially if you want to make money, because you're beholden to their fees, and they have some kind of shady practices. Because I've experienced that you're pre-opt into their marketing things that you would have to opt out, and I got a sale, but they charge like $12 for the marketing because of that sale.
And you don't know until after it sells.
Yes.
But I found when I opted out, I didn't get nearly as many sales.
Yeah.
So it was like, I have to accommodate this. And then it does give you a breakdown of like, these people visited your store from your Instagram. These visited from Google.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you can, with anybody, like also with the Dyers Guild, if you're marketing yourself, you don't necessarily need that extra. Like, you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're on Instagram, you can be specifically targeting disc golfers. So like, I found that I was bringing in a lot of people myself by posting regularly and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can turn off those options, but I think that they kind of secretly punish you for that. I don't know.
Yes.
It's not the best. Dyers Guild.
Yes.
.co.
So yeah, there. Again, the Dyers Guild is an option. Discdying.com is an option. I feel like there's some other artsy marketplaces that may be an option. Really, the best option is to create your own website for multiple reasons. And I obviously would like to get as many people on Dyers Guild as possible, but having your own website, you have full control over it, and slightly cheaper fees as well, because all you really have to pay is the card processing fee with whatever website that you go with or hosting that you go with.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do marketing better with your own website. I say that because you can have, so full disclosure, I am a marketer by trade, and if you have any questions of how to market yourself, let me know and I'll be happy to answer that. But like, I can talk about a whole topic about this, but long story short is you can create like a specific landing page. You can create specific paid ads to go to that landing page. You can collect leads, nurture your email list, business stuff, which again can seem overwhelming, but you want to just get more eyeballs onto whatever place that you're selling. And the reason why I say for disc dyers to have your eggs in multiple baskets is not everybody is a marketer and knows how to do that. So that's just an easy way to get visibility within your discs if people are on a specific platform. So yeah. Oh, did you freeze?
You froze.
Oh.
We both froze.
Yes. So yeah.
There's one thing to be cautious about, and I've been guilty of this, is that if you have the same disc on multiple platforms, make sure you have a system in place so that when you sell it in one place, you don't also sell it in another. It's happened to me a few times. I have just been like, hey, I sold that, but I could just make another one similar, and it's been fine. It's worked out. But it's very stressful when it happens and you're looking through the bin and you're like, oh God, I don't have this disc. So have some sort of spreadsheet or system in place to keep track of what sells, which is good to do anyways for like profit margin type thing.
Yes. I was going to include an asterisk of having your disc in as many places as you can. Disclaimer, have it as many places as you can that you can manage easily. So once you sell it, you can adjust the other locations. Another benefit of having your own site is depending on like your payment gateway. For example, I know Andy from Endless Dyes uses Stripe, and when he vends at events, he uses Stripe, but his Stripe is also on his website. So if he makes a sale in person, they'll automatically take it down from his website, so he doesn't have to worry about the double sales. So just another benefit of your own website. I do make websites as well, so if you need a website, let me know.
You almost have me sold. I'm this close.
Yes. You know a guy. So yeah, is there anything else for online sales for tips or tricks or things to watch out for that you would give?
Just specifically like things that you post online.
For selling discs online.
For selling discs online.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Useless. All right.
Do lots of pictures.
Yeah, quality pictures do help a lot.
Sunlight pictures.
I was going to say the sunlight is the best light that you can do. You can get the most fanciest soft boxes or whatever, but sunlight, the best.
100%.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Other things to think out or watch out for is credit card fees. So transaction fees, to know what kind of percentage that they take from that, which, the credit card payment companies are just the blood sucking, just leech the money out of everything. That's another thing. If you find it at events, cash is king, which is nice.
Yes.
The other thing that I want to mention is shipping. What do you use for shipping?
Pirate ship all day, baby.
Yes.
But I do recommend if you're going to take this to the business level, get yourself a label printer. It's amazing.
I highly, highly recommend that. So what we're talking about is a thermal label printer.
Yes.
And you can actually get those relatively cheap. I think I got mine for like $50. Like for $50. And it doesn't use any ink because it is thermal. And you get the like 4x6 little sheets. That's the sticker. Print it out, stick it on. It's a lot more professional.
It's so professional, you guys.
And if you haven't checked out Pirate Ship, that has been the cheapest for shipping that I have found. And it's super easy. And another thing, if you have your own website, you can actually connect it. So all that information will go into the Pirate Ship automatically, and you just have to click one button.
Snap.
Yes. So, Brittany, looks like you're getting a website.
I need more time, Dave.
Yeah. You and me both. So, what strategies have you employed to deal with competitors?
I think in this case, for disc dyeing specifically, I don't worry about them. I just do my own thing, mind my own business, do things how I want to do, have a community of people that are on your side that you can bounce ideas off of. But I don't worry about competitors. And honestly, that kind of applies in the bigger business as well. We had a competitor come in. It was a big deal. It's a big chain, really hard to compete with. And we're like, we're just going to keep doing what we do. We're going to have good customer service. We're going to have the best prices we can, and hopefully charm everybody into loving us. And we have survived, and it's been fine. And there's no point in creating negativity or stressing about other people and what they're doing. Focus on yourself, make art you love. People will follow.
Yes. That is the philosophy that I try to live by as well. And great advice, because you've been doing this for 9+ years so far. There are, depending on all artists steal. And depending on what style you're going to do, people are going to try to mimic it. The first thing that comes to mind is like Austin Red from Dyes by Red. Everybody trying to mimic the lazy wave. And he's really cool about it as well. He tells people how he does it.
Yeah.
But he still does it the best.
Right. That's exactly it. It's his. Like, I don't know. Just be true to yourself. And there's always going to be something different about yours and the way you do it and your mix and your medium and whatever, that if people like it, they like it. Yes.
And I go back to what we talked about earlier, but a way to differentiate yourself is to show your face and personality rather than just your art.
True.
Which, again, people latching on to your purpose behind your art and you rather than your art is a lot stronger than just the art by itself.
Yeah.
And customer service is very important.
Yes.
Kill them with kindness.
Yes.
Do you have any other insights on to customer relations?
Yes. If you are thinking about becoming a disc dyer professionally, full-time, business-wise, whatever level, customer service is going to take up a lot of your time. And you have to be willing to do that, or find some system to make it work. It's something I'm still working on myself, that you have to be personable. And because people want commissions and they want something specific, you have to be able to communicate with words with a non-artist or do a video chat with them. Sometimes I'm just like, can you video really quick? I'm not quite sure what you're saying. There's a lot of back and forth. One of the most time-consuming things for me is picking out the disc. Sometimes he'll be like, hey, do you have this disc? And I'll be like, no, I have something just like it. It's this. And they're like, okay, what about this one? And it's this back and forth. I really need to make like a list of all the discs I have available to like send to people. I think that is the answer that I've come up with, because not only do I have the discs here in my studio, but I have them at the shop. So sometimes it's like, well, I don't have any here, but I might have one there. And then it just adds another level of back and forth. So having like an inventory of what discs you have available would be really good. And communicating prices ahead of time is very wise. You can save everybody time by being open and upfront about that. And knowing your boundaries, like being able to say no. I think it's hard for a lot of us disc dyers. There's something about us that we tend to be people pleasers, or we just want to share what we're doing or something. But I'm trying to learn myself, like, sometimes I don't have the time, or I'm not really into that style or whatever. Just like finding ways to say, oh, I can't do that right now. Mm-hmm. It's okay. You don't have to say yes to everything all the time. And being upfront about like, this might take 2 months. My commission list is high right now. This might take 2 months. If you're willing to wait that long, I'll put you on the list, or putting some sort of limit on your commission list so that it becomes stressful if you let it get too big. So knowing your own limits is really important.
Yeah. Setting expectations of everything is very important. Like you said, price, what you can and can't do, time frame. So there is no assuming, because assumption is very, very bad. Mm-hmm. So you do commissions. Where do people mainly request those commissions through?
Instagram. Instagram is the answer. I get a lot. Sometimes Facebook too. But it's almost always social media. And then also people dropping stuff off at my shop with a Post-it that says, dye this for me. Yeah. It's getting a little tough. But yeah, it's a lot of social media communications. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out a good way to streamline that. It always seems like when I'm at peak busyness, I get a message like, hey, can you dye a disc for me? And that's just like opening a floodgate of questions that follows. So
yes. That was the other question I was going to ask. So how do you manage all those inquiries? Which you're still trying to figure out, it sounds like?
Well, I get messages, and then every day I check in on my commission list, and I make sure I have all my messages accounted for, and I'll like add to them in the order in which I received them. And then I cross them off, and I'm very detailed in it. So it's like, it's scribbles, but it's like the person who contacted me, where they contacted me. That's big, you guys, because I'll be like, oh, it's this guy. Was it Facebook? Was it Instagram? Was it in person? Like where they contacted me on the list is really important. And then what disc and what design. And I always ask people if they have a specific date they need something by, like if it's a gift or something. So having that information in my notebook is where I'm at right now.
Okay. Well, I know you're not that technologically savvy, which makes sense. And there's a million ways to skin a cat. Yes. So whatever works for you.
I do have notes in my phone that I use sometimes too. So
yeah. So whatever way works for you. I'm not going to judge, but at least not out loud. But again, another benefit of having your own website is you can set up, you don't even need your own website. You can even set up a Google form or something like that.
That's what I've been thinking about doing.
just basically any requests that come in, like, hey, just fill out this form so I can keep things organized type thing. Because even just the limited stuff that I have, keeping track of conversations in Instagram is a pain in the ass.
Yes. And it's not just my disc dyeing.
It's like everything.
Same with you. There's so many things. Even just school emails get overwhelming, and then it's like you add on the 2 businesses and the disc dyeing. So yeah, I think I do need to do a form, like a Google form type thing. I am a little nervous about taking out the personal part of it right up front, but I think I'll like clarify, like, I'm gonna message you back. Like, we'll communicate as well. This is just the starting point.
Yeah. Again, like setting the expectations of, reason why I'm sending you this form is because I want to keep track of things. And, like, I will reach back out to you after you fill out the form so I can get a better idea of what you're looking for. The more information that you provide, the better result I can get you. And if you really wanted to, you can create like a personal video that you could put on top of the form. Like, hey, I'm Brittany from Ugly and Dyes.
So cute.
Yeah.
That sounds really professional, Dave.
It's very, very, very professional. The next question that I want to ask is kind of a large, encompassing question is, can you walk us through your typical workflow from receiving an order to completing a dye disc and sending it off to the customer?
Yeah, so it's usually that starts off with a lot of back and forth messaging. And then I write them in the notebook, and then I take the discs that they want and I add it to, I have a specific shelf of like, these discs are on hold, and I'll usually like put a post-it that says it's for this person. And then I work down my commission list and start at the top. A lot of times I will shoot them a picture of the design that I have on the computer. Like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Does this work for you? Unless they're very much like free, they give you freedom. You can kind of read the people, but I'll oftentimes shoot them a picture of the design. And then once they approve that, then I go into the disc dyeing process, stencil, background, whatever.
Amazingness.
What's that?
Amazingness.
Yes. And then I usually show them a picture, like an outdoor sunlight picture. I have sometimes, if I really love a disc, I will give them the option, like, do you want it to be a surprise unboxing or do you want to see it ahead of time? And I've definitely gotten mixed results on that. And it's really fun to see like how people respond to it. But I really usually have them like make sure they like it before I have them pay me. I can always usually sell it if they don't like it, but I think I've had that happen like once. So I tend to show them a picture, especially if I'm unsure. And then it's like, once they approve it and I get the money, I package it up. It's, if you're going to do this professionally, have yourself like a shipping shelf or a shipping station, have your boxes ready, whatever packaging you're going to use, cards, sticker. And then I print up that label with that fancy label printer. Post office all the time. They know me very well.
Yes. So there's a lot of questions that I want to ask. First question, do you only do discs that you have, or do you take people sending you their discs?
I'll do either.
Okay, not picky.
I write that in my notebook if they're sending me one.
The other thing, at least for your style, because you do a lot of stencils, I would highly recommend what you do, like if you can, mocking up a proof of what it's going to look like as best as you can, at least stencil wise, to see if they're like, hey, this is kind of the design or, artwork that I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I said I sent them a picture of the design, like on the computer, and I'll like fill the black lines in with black and then maybe like a background color, and it's like on a circle so they can see what it's going to look like. Yeah. On a round image.
So I would highly recommend taking the time to do that, and that goes into the assumption thing, to make sure that there's no assumptions and guessing of what they're going to get. They're going to know exactly what they're going to get. And that can help out down the line through like, what the hell? This isn't what I asked for.
Yeah, I do have a drawing tablet, and sometimes I will like color it in and like show them what I'm thinking. And it also helps me like pick out my colors and make sure it's going to look good together.
Yeah. And to be professional, getting some nice packaging material. I would recommend cardboard boxes because they're a little bit more sturdy. If you don't,
100%.
you can get the bubble mailers. Just make sure you have a cardboard backer in there that is sturdy enough. But I think the cardboard boxes are more professional. And you can get those relatively affordable. I know depending on the style you want, there's a few places that you can get it. I know Terry Miller has some boxes and bags. There is a shop in Madison, Wisconsin that has also the same. Glide.
They're the same, yeah.
Yeah, they have the same. That might be, I think, slightly cheaper. But yeah.
I think they're similar in price, but they're not accounting for the shipping costs. Whereas when you order them and get them shipped, they cost a little more, but it's free shipping. But it's really just built in.
Yes.
You know. But they're really great boxes. Those are the boxes I use. They're specifically for discs, and you can fit 2 or 1. They're really nice.
Indeed. And the nice thing about those is they're very light, and if you ship 1 disc, it can be under £1, which saves some money on shipping.
Yeah. It's usually about $5 to ship a disc.
Yeah, we'll probably get into pricing a little bit, but that is another thing to consider is the shipping cost. The cost of the actual shipping, as well as all the materials used to ship that disc, like the box, the label, the bag, business card stickers, or any other swag that you put in there. So when you price out a disc, do you include the shipping, or do you just hey, this is X amount for shipping?
I include the shipping in it. So I just give them this is the total, including shipping, is how I say it.
Okay.
If it's 1 disc, I know it's going to be $5 to $6. If it's 2 discs, it's $7 usually. So,
and I guess speaking of pricing, how do you price your discs?
Not good enough.
I agree. I think you're charging way too little for what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm curious of what your rationale is for your pricing and how you came up with it, and if you want to disclose what that pricing is.
It very much started as bare minimum. I just want to keep doing this, So it's $5, $10 to dye a disc on top of the cost of the disc, right? And then it was slowly adding $5 until where I'm at now. So it's not at all logical. I know I should be getting probably $20 an hour, but there's no way that's happening. Most of my discs take 5 to 6 hours on the low side of things. Yeah. So I'm basically getting paid less than $10 an hour, which is hilarious, honestly. I think I've been nervous about maybe it's rejection, people being I'm not paying that. Or just a big part of it is that a lot of people have been regulars for me. And it's really hard to raise prices on people who've been supporting me through my journey. But as new people come in, I've been raising it for them. So usually about $60 a disc.
Okay. I was going to say, do you have this is the minimum that I'm going to, the minimum amount of money that I need to do a disc?
Probably 15, if it's really basic.
Okay.
I mean, if they're providing the disc.
Yeah. What styles and methods do you do?
Everything but Floetrol.
Fantastic. What is your bread and butter style?
Stencils and denatured alcohol hand painting.
Yeah. What has been the most you've charged for a disc?
I think 60. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think people should be charging a lot more for their work for various reasons. And going back to Etsy, that necessarily isn't the best place to sell because it's a downward spiral to the lowest price. So you always there's competition on Etsy, really any business, and you're trying to undercut. But since everybody's undercutting, you're now making even less, and it's is it even worth doing it? And this is art. Yes, it's on a disc that people throw, and it does fade over time, but it is still art. And there are people that are willing to pay the higher prices for a good disc. And Brittany, the stuff that you've been producing is like, I can't even go high enough for the quality and insaneness of what it is. And going to my experience with like graphic design and other stuff, even like, wedding photographer, people that are willing to pay more are way easier to work with than people that are, like nickeling and diming you, and you charge really low price because they're expecting the world for nothing.
Yes, that has been part of my journey lately, is like I've been so busy dyeing discs that I'm kind of like willing to weed people out, but I think it takes a long time to get there and to gain that confidence.
Yeah.
And like now I'm realizing, all right, I'm just going to keep upping my price until it's more appropriate. And if people say no, I'm not worried about it. Like, not to be conceited or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just my time is valuable, and I should be getting what I'm working for. And if people say that's too much, that's fine. They can find someone else, and I'll help them find somebody else. I don't need more right now.
Yeah, it's really what the market is willing to bear, and what is your time worth. I think I had a brief conversation with Screwy Dye Jobs because he got really popular with the Simon discs, and he was just getting so much work, and he just kept raising his prices, and he was like charging $150 to $200 a disc, and people will be happy to pay that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the more you charge, the more you get. So if you do one disc,
the less I have to do.
Yeah. One disc that you do for $100, you would have to do like what? Math is hard for, cheaper price. So you're doing less for more money. So
yes,
there's a lot of train of thought on that as well. Especially
that's
if you're
where I'm at right now.
Especially if you're like first starting out, and you're still trying to develop your style. You can charge a lower price, but just be aware of your self-worth and your time.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think there is a place for like, I'm just learning and trying to break even, but like realize when you're past that and jump those prices up. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna heed my own advice. I promise.
Yes. But I'm also curious to talk to the other dyers as well, because I feel like they have maybe a different mentality, where I feel like you are quality over quantity. And some other dyers are quantity, I wouldn't say over quality, but things that
the time they put into it.
Yeah. Like the amount of discs that they can spit out, they can justify the lower cost. So they do more bulk stuff more than one-off bespoke things.
Well, that's where Marc and I have an interesting balance, because he does more, we call it production work in the glass world. So like production work is stuff that you can crank out fairly quickly, looks really nice, really consistent, kind of similar in design. And then you've got the like, this is one of a kind heady piece, right? Like this is something that you don't replicate. It's one of a kind. It takes time. So I think we're kind of a weird balance of that. So
yeah, which is good. The yin and
it's nice.
The other thing.
It's the Dave and the other guy.
Yes. So I want to ask some other questions, which we kind of touched on, but I just want to ask them because I can. What techniques have you found to be the most popular or profitable?
It's so random, Dave. It's so random.
Yeah.
I don't really worry about that. I just do what I like to do.
That's a great motto to live by, but just not necessarily like catering to that, but your observation of what has done well.
Everything. I guess stencil, anything with like some sort of object seems to do better.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we sell glue beds too. I don't know. I think they all have a place. I think, like I said, variety is where it's at. Having that variety.
You ain't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if we can answer this question, but how do you balance creativity with commercial appeal?
Creativity with commercial appeal.
That kind of goes to like the bespoke thing versus, mass quantity stuff, I guess.
Yeah. For me, because I have the other elements of my business, it's definitely, I'm just more worried about creativity and doing what I like and what makes me happy. So I haven't focused too much on the commercial aspect of things, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's see. We already answered this one. How do you manage your time and stay organized with multiple orders, projects? Talked about that. Do you keep an inventory of dyed discs? And if so, how many? Or is that just a loaded question because it varies all the time?
It waxes and wanes. Yeah. Like I used to have a big stock and I would sell them online, but I've been so busy with commissions that I don't really have much stock. And then I've been doing the Pro Tour events. So I've been building up my stock and not doing commissions. So it's really just like being adaptable and being flexible to like whatever your current situation is.
Yeah.
And on that note, I do want to say, like, don't get caught up doing what other people want you to do, because it's gonna take the joy out of it. Or at least for me, it does. Some people might be totally fine with that. But I, every now and then, like if I get too busy on commissions, I'm like, I'm just gonna dye what I want right now. Just gonna take a break and do what I want. So I think it's important to find a balance and stay healthy.
I was just letting the train pass. But yeah. And doing stuff that you like doing and showing that work will get you more of that work.
Exactly.
If you start doing things of people requesting it and you post it, people are going to do or want more of that. And if you don't like doing that, you're going to keep getting more of that. So it's kind of, not good.
I do agree. Posting the stuff that you like to do and that inspires you will in turn get similar things, commissions back. So then you can be happier. Happy is good.
And I'm assuming that's the reason why you started disc dyeing, is because it was a happy, fun thing to do. And making it a business can make it not as fun. So you have to have that balance if you want to have your sanity, or not if you just want to go hog wild and, not make it fun anymore. That's up to you too.
I think some people still have fun though with that. I think some people are just cool with doing the process. They don't really need to. They're not so worried about what they're making as long as like they're having fun doing it. And then there's people like me who are like, I want to do what I want. So it just depends on what kind of person you are. And that probably will dictate what kind of business you have. If you have a mass producing, crank out as much quantity as you can type of situation, which doesn't always sacrifice quality. Or you have me where like I just want to sit here and focus on something obnoxiously long and get it exactly how I want. And I just enjoy that part. Yes.
One brush stroke at a time. Crazy.
But knowing what you enjoy about it is really important for how you design your business. You should really learn how to have those boundaries and that balance and what's going to keep you interested in it and happy with it. Because if you get too focused on business or too focused on something, you might lose yourself and it'll become a job and not enjoyable.
Yes, this is very relatable. I can get behind that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about time management. So I'm going to ask this question. I already know the answer, but is this a full-time thing or a side hustle?
It's a side hustle.
Yeah. Do you think you could ever make it a full-time thing, or if it, could
I
you
was
live
crunching
off?
the numbers last night, and I do it pretty frequently. How many discs do I have to dye to make the same amount of money I make at my business? And it would be a lot. But then I go, well, if I raise my price to this, I only have to do this many. Because I would love that. I would love that for me.
Yes. I would love that for you too.
I could probably do my job one day a week at the shop and still keep some money there. But I would like my whole job to be just golf related. I want an indoor disc golf place with my disc dyes, and that's what I want. So I would have to dye a lot of discs.
Do you think it would be hard to make it a full-time thing? Or if you really tried, you could?
I have faith that I could, but I'm kind of that kind of person. Like, I can do anything and I'll make it happen. And so far it's worked out well for me. But man, I'd be risking a lot.
Yeah. Do you think dyeing discs full-time is a hard business?
I mean, there's people doing it. It can be done. I think part of it is my style. But I think it can be done. But like I said, you got to realize that one of my hesitations is like, I'm going to be online a lot. I'm going to have to market myself. I'm going to have to do the parts I don't want to do all the time. And it makes me wonder if I would still enjoy it as much. But I'm kind of doing that stuff anyways, so I think I could do it.
Well, what does Marc do? Does he just like sit there and look pretty? Marc is her husband.
As far as disc dyeing goes?
For the business. Yeah, this dyeing business.
Oh, he does everything at the business. He's like our accountant, and he does a lot there. I think like I said, I could reduce my hours there and still get my work done. But I could also train him to do it. But that doesn't seem fair that I get to disc dye full time and he gets the old grind,
Well, does he help you with the disc dyeing business?
Oh, the disc dye business.
Yeah.
We kind of do things. He dyes a lot for like locals. They all know him. He's kind of like the local dude. And I do more online stuff. He doesn't really do like online commissions or anything. If I ever ask him to do something though, he'll cut vinyl for me all day. He's nothing but supportive.
See, well, so what you need is to get a supportive, significant other to help out.
Yes.
Free labor, basically.
Get on that, Dave.
Yeah, I'm trying. How many hours a week do you typically spend on your disc dyeing business?
Realistically?
Honestly,
probably about
realistically, 30? Wow.
I'm never not doing something with it.
Okay.
Because there's always messages or posts or...
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I do spend a lot of time and I don't sleep very much.
I hear that. And running a business, it's not like a 9-to-5 job.
No, it's all day, every day.
It's persistent.
Yeah. You never stop.
Yeah. Which you have to set limits sometimes with yourself of working, but it can be hard. And I feel like it's hard with creatives because of that specific personality that we have. So
yes.
What percentage of the disc dyeing business income do you think you take in compared to what else you take in? Like, what percentage of the disc dyeing business is your profit or income?
Like free money?
Because I'm trying to gauge of like where you're at, like at a full-time thing. Is like is it like 35% of your total income? Is it 50, 75, 10?
I think we're just getting in the green.
All right.
I think it's been just like really steady, just like paying for itself. And like, yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We turn a lot of things into vacations too, like events.
Business expenses.
So then it kind of, it cancels itself out in some way or another.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of just like free money for me right now, just like a little bit of spending money. Yeah, it's hard to say. I need to start my own spreadsheet.
Yeah. There's a lot of the business side of things that I know a lot of creative people do not like, and I can be in that camp as well. So
yeah, I do a lot of that already. So like this is kind of like my break from that stuff. And so I haven't been as organized with it. And I'm kind of like, it's kind of like freeing for me to not to be a little bit chaotic with it. But I should.
So how do you balance disc dyeing with other work or personal commitments?
I think I mentioned the no sleep already.
Yes.
Well, my kids always come first. So like in the summer, I cut down my disc dyeing time significantly and try to incorporate them. Like I'll have my daughter come down here and DJ for me. Like she loves music. So like come play some music for me while I dye a disc, and she'll talk to me and like try to incorporate them and stuff, bringing them to events and they can go have fun and experience that and travel with us. So winter though is when I really produce the most because the kids are in school. So I have a little bit more time to sit and have some free time.
Yeah. Kids.
It's kind of having a list of priorities.
I was like, kids, the fun suckers.
But they're awesome.
Yeah, they can be.
I mean, I'll bring my dyes to the shop every now and then and be like, I'm going to spend an hour working on my dye while I'm at work after I get caught up with stuff. Like, I've made a little portable thing, and definitely like making sure I take time to just be with the family. Yeah.
I hear that. I know you literally just kind of answered this question, but how long did it take until you became profitable and you weren't losing money dyeing discs?
2 years.
All right.
But we did stock up a ton on discs, like I was saying before. So like we're just kind of paying that off.
Your disc debt.
My disc debt is, I think we're good. So it's just going to be nothing but profit now for a month.
I feel like the initial startup cost isn't necessarily that expensive compared to like other businesses.
Yeah.
It depends on really how you want to do it. You can start really small and work your way up, which can take some time, or you can have some capital investment up front, which can potentially speed up the process, but then you have obviously more risk with that. Yeah.
I think it can grow organically with your skills, like as you get better as a dyer, you can like build it into a business. It like turns into one on its own. So it's a very different situation than most businesses.
Yeah. You can see if you like it. You can see if you're good at it. And you can see if you make money before making it a really big thing. You don't want to like dye your first disc and it looks crappy and you're like, I'm going to start a business. $10,000 in discs, please. Yeah.
I'll take 10 of everything.
I'm just looking at my questions. I'm going to ask this again, but you already answered it. How do you determine the pricing for your dyed discs? Which you mentioned, you kind of just, it's really nilly. But if you had to retabulate of how to calculate the cost of your discs, how would you come up with that?
My recommendation to people who are wanting to make it a business, don't do what I did. Calculate how many hours you're spending on each disc and then what you think is a fair price for your time. $20 an hour. You know, whatever number you put on your time, calculate that into how you price your disc out.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give two answers. One is a very basic and simple answer. Price it so if you sell one disc, you can make two more. So basically you're just doubling your efforts every time. The more complicated answer is figuring out what your hourly rate is. And I can provide a formula for that to give you an idea, because you can be like, well, I don't know what the hell to charge an hourly rate or what makes sense, but you can figure that out specifically for you and your situation. And you can base the pricing of your time on that plus the materials. And you can get even very specific, like, okay, a clear glue bed cost me $2 to do per bed. So you can get that granular if you want to figure out the cost. Or you can be like, whatever. But that's not very good business practices.
It's not. And like I said, that's not how I run the rest of my business.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it took me like 4 years to be like, okay, now I am confident and now I'm ready to do this thing. I think I'm just hitting that point.
Which,
to be honest.
Again, it's crazy to me because it's the work that you're producing, and I feel like we're our worst self-critic. So, yeah.
Yes. Professional.
What factors do you consider when setting prices for custom orders versus pre-dyed discs?
Yes, this is something I've recently come to realization of. If somebody requests something that I already have the stencil, like something that I've already made, and they see it on my Instagram and they want one, I could charge a little bit less because I don't have to do all the editing and computer parts. So I think going forward, I'm going to have a price for if I already have the stencil, and then there's going to be an extra fee for if I have to design it, because that takes a long time and I might not ever use it again.
Yeah.
So definitely factor that in, people.
And another way to look at it is like tattoo artists. They charge for their time to make custom mock-ups versus like a, what is the term, a flash book or whatever?
Flash.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, something like that, where like, this is my flash. This is more affordable. And also, obviously, I consider like how complex it is and how much time it's going to take. Now that I've been doing this for a while, I have a much better idea of like, that disc is going to take me 2 hours. That disc is going to take me 12 hours, you know?
Yeah. Again, your time is valuable, so charge accordingly. The other question when you do custom work is, say someone has this idea, but you actually have to do the artwork. It sounds like you include that labor into the cost. Okay.
Yes.
And
if it's something I got to draw up by hand, I'll say that. I'll be like, well, this is something that I'm going to have to draw up on my tablet and design, and that's going to take me at least 1 or 2 hours more. So it will be more expensive. And I tell them that right away to see if they're still interested.
Yeah. Yeah. If they ghost you, well, then you know that they weren't interested.
Now I don't have to sit there and draw it out.
The other question that I forgot to mention or to ask when you're talking about commissions is, when do you accept payment?
I accept payment after I do the disc. I know. That is risky. My logic is generally, I can usually just sell it if they don't take it. If they don't pay me, I'll just sell it to somebody else. I do have a few clients I take payment ahead of time.
Yes. My recommendation is take payment at the beginning. If not in full, at least like a 50% deposit. So you're not wasting your time if they do ghost you for whatever reason. And I
a tattoo shop.
Exactly. And I personally take cues for like the the creative side of stuff like graphic design and photography that I've done, I always take a 50% deposit before we start anything, just to make sure that the client is invested in this and isn't going to like flake out on you. So
I think this is another place where like having a Google form would be really good, because the reason I don't take a down payment is because I don't want to keep track of who has paid what part of when. So it's like, that's one of those things I need to have a system for that I don't currently.
Yes. But we're going to get you all technologically advanced here.
It hurts my heart a little bit just thinking about it.
Yeah.
No, I do need to. Like I said, I do feel like a fraud doing this a little bit, but I am sort of at that point where I want to take that further step to make my life easier and to be more professional.
Yes, professional. But yeah, I'm curious to see how the other dyers that I talk to operate on the business aspect. So yeah, you know, you never know. Maybe everybody is just as chaotic and unorganized as you.
No way.
You never know.
One thing I've learned about disc dyeing is I do everything backwards.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
At least I put the disc on this, or I put the stencil on the disc.
Yeah. You're a sane person, so not crazy and weird.
I don't know about the weird part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the correct term.
You're a human.
Yes. You are human. Let's see here. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when starting your disc dyeing business? Like when you first started doing disc dyeing?
Finding people. Finding discs, getting people who want discs from me. Because when you're first starting off, you don't have the followers, you don't have the name. Like, you're just like, I really want to dye discs. Anybody want one? Anybody please take one? So I think building that customer base, that's kind of forced me into social media a little bit, but it was worth it.
Yeah, no, you have to hustle. And I personally hate selling myself because you feel icky sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is a necessary evil.
It feels less icky if you're true to yourself, though, and just like genuine. And so I've learned that, like, it doesn't have to be gross. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. I can just do what I'm cool with and just be myself and take it or leave it,
But yeah, it's hard to grow a business to be passive. People aren't necessarily going to flock to you just organically. You got to
work for it.
You have to be out there hustling, leaving comments, posting your stuff, just getting as much eyeballs on your work as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you overcame the challenges by whoring yourself out.
Great success.
Yes. I might take that part out. Who knows? What mistakes have you made early on, and what did you learn from them?
Early on? Well, probably not charging enough would be a big one for me. And I definitely committed to some things that I probably shouldn't have early on. It was a learning experience, and I wouldn't take any of it back because that journey is what got me here. So I wouldn't call them mistakes, but learning moments.
Yes, they're not mistakes if you can learn from them.
Yeah. Just be adaptable, be flexible, learn, move on.
Yeah,
don't dwell on those.
I was going to say the best way to get better is practice. So the more reps and more times you do it, you'll get better. You'll learn from it. You're not going to be perfect with anything unless you're a damn prodigy for whatever. At anything you do. Unlike me, I'm great at everything I do it all the time, first time. So
like, don't be so critical of yourself. I think I can definitely fall into that sometimes, but I'm working through it.
Yeah. How have you motivated yourself through some tougher times with the design business?
I think that goes back to like sometimes it gets stressful and overwhelming, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just dye something that I want to dye for fun, and hopefully I'll sell it, but I just want to do what I want to do sometimes, and like finding that balance of not being sucked into only doing what other people want you to do. That's like a really easy way to lose yourself and your vision and your creative side. So just taking time to dye what you want.
Yeah, that's, again, the reason why most everybody got into it is they wanted to dye their own disc to have something cool in their bag. What are your goals for the business, or what do you want to do in the future with it?
I think I just want to go as far as I can go. Just see where this journey takes me. I would love for it to be something I do more businessy and professionally. Just like get to that next level of like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to make this official and really make it a business.
I feel like it already is a business for you, but like,
but I'm not like keeping track of profits and losses and stuff as much with this part of it. So maybe, and like making it more official, some of those forms for clients, and just like streamlining it to make it a better experience for everybody, me and the client. And like, yeah, I don't know. I would love to just do this all the time.
More professional.
More professional. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, where... So it sounds like a lot of the back end business side of stuff with the disc dyeing that you want to improve. Like, where do you see yourself aspirational? Like, for a goal for you, is it like you just want to do this full time and that makes you happy? Or do you want to be like, you are the most well-known famous dyer ever existed?
No, I don't care about that one bit. But if I could do it full time, that'd be like amazing, the best. But like, I guess for me, just as long as I'm having fun and I'm happy and I'm not losing money, I'm content. But I would love to be a full-time dyer. Like, yes. Someone wants to sponsor me out there and just like pay me a salary to dye discs all the time, I'm here for you.
Not losing money is a very good thing.
Yeah. I don't think I'm not losing money. It just, I still have to have my other business. You know, that's where I'm secure.
Makes sense. What will you never compromise on with your disc dyeing business?
I'm pretty flexible, pretty adaptable. I'm not pretty hard lined on anything, I don't think.
I mean, is it like specific styles you won't do?
I don't do Floetrol. But I say that, but I just did it for somebody like 6 months ago because he insisted, and he's been buying discs for me forever. And I was like, I suck at this. If you want me to do it, I'll do a practice and then I'll do it. And he got a disc. But so I, like I said, not hard lined on very many things. It was fun to do, like mix it up a little bit. But I generally just say no to Floetrol, and I send them to people who know what they're doing when they ask me.
So when you get these commission requests, and like, when do you say no to somebody? I know you said you can kind of tell, but what are some red flags, I guess?
Red flags from a client. Disc dyers are generally pretty cool, and I haven't had too many bad interactions. Yeah, I don't know. Red flags.
So, red flags from the customers.
Right.
So, like, they're just kind of acting weird, like, okay, I'm not really getting the vibe of that.
I mean, if they tried to, like, wheel and deal me down, I'd just say no.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. I would just be like, no. If it's not my style or something that I don't want to do, I'll just say, I'll give them recommendations for somebody else that might be more into that. But I really have had really good luck, I think. I've had pretty cool people and a lot of regular people buying from me, and haven't had any like All right. Here's a red flag. Here it is. When somebody constantly messages you with ideas, but then it's just like more ideas all the time. Nope. Nope. They don't have, or I'll pay you when I get paid in a month. No, sir. That's not happening.
Yeah. So you say that you're lucky, but I don't necessarily think that it's luck. I think it's just how you run your business. Like you said, being authentic and honest and attracting like-minded people to your business, and you're not attracting assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all me. I did it all on purpose. I'm doing a really good job.
Yes, we're just going to go with that.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep. Anytime. So we're going to go to the next section, which is industry insights. I mean, disc dyeing is relatively new, but in your mind, how has the disc dyeing market changed since you started?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because disc golf is just, I think, growing. I think it's on the up and up. I think they're figuring a lot of things out. We're in kind of its infancy. Disc dyeing is also growing, so there is probably a lot more competition. But also, I feel like I have a little bit of a head start, maybe. So, like I said, I don't really worry about competition. There are a lot of disc dyers out there getting their name out there, and I really just show them support and love and give them likes and share their stuff. And I think it's really cool that it's growing, and I think there's plenty to go around at the moment. I think people are still just discovering disc dyeing. I think there's a lot of potential for growth.
Yeah. No, there definitely is. From my perspective, I feel like the market is starting to get flooded with disc dyers that, they start dyeing a disc like, oh, hey, my friends wanted this disc. I'll start, selling them. I want to make a business out of it. And from when I first started disc dyeing to now, I feel like there is a lot more people that are trying to sell discs. And I feel like it was easier to start a successful disc dyeing business during like the COVID time versus now.
Yeah, but that's where you have to set yourself apart and market yourself and make yourself stand out and be true to yourself, because that's going to make you stand out. Get your face out there. Even if it's by supporting other dyers, then, it's good to get your face out there and do the uncomfortable camera thing, If you're just producing stuff that everybody else is, your business is probably going to slow down. And if you're not trying to get sales, it's going to slow down. But I'm in the head shop business, vapes. Like, if that's not a saturated market, you can get them at gas stations. And yet customer service, good customer service, marketing, all these things add up, and they will pay off. Yes.
And one thing that I can give a tip on is be nice to other disc dyers, because they will have your back and help support you. Like 100%. You said, if you can't do a flow trail bed, you go to another dyer. That other dyer that you go to, you've built a relationship with them and you trust them. And so, you give other people businesses like, hey, I can't do this, but hey, here's some other dyers that can. So, yeah.
I just had a Canadian dyer send me a client because he's like, well, I don't want to ship outside of Canada anymore. So I'm just like recommending other people. Would you want to take this on? And it was like, we had a relationship. We've done a live together. Like, we've just liked each other's stuff. And he sent somebody my way. I've definitely sent people to other people. If it was I was too busy or not my style, Floetrol. It's a good community, and people can help you. If you have questions, they can help you.
Yes. So be a nice, personable dyer.
Be nice. There's no benefit to being mean.
Just in life in general,
Just be nice.
Yeah. What trends do you see emerging in the disc dyeing industry? There's that. Yes.
In the business.
Or, just designing in general or the business. Yeah.
I think there's collectors emerging. Like there's a lot of people who are like, I just had somebody who was like, oh, I really need this disc. And I was like, I'm trying to sell this at an event. I'm trying to bring stock there. He's like, oh, well, I've got Screwy, I've got Moogly. And he like listed like 4 of my buddies. And I was like, all right, the disc is yours, man. Like you got this. And definitely gave it a wonderful home. It's just like, it's definitely the sense of community that you get. I forgot what the original question was.
Any
where it's
trends,
trending.
yeah, or emerging things. And
yeah. So you've got like people who collect dyed discs emerging. A lot of people are like, they find a favorite dyer and then they like always go to them. So you can definitely, through a good interaction, create future sales by just being amicable and good to work with and quick to respond. It's a culture. It's becoming it's a subculture within a subculture. And I think there's just a lot of growth and a lot of potential.
Yeah. I feel like a lot among dyers, we tried to collect other dyers' discs like Pokemon cards.
Definitely do some trades with people. It's so fun.
Yeah, and definitely don't be afraid to ask other dyers that you'd like to do a trade because they'll most likely say yes.
It's fun. It's really fun dyeing for other dyers.
Yes.
It really is. It's a different experience altogether.
And speaking of that, we had our first ever secret summer swap. That's actually still going out. I think the deadline is July 12th, which this video may be out already. So definitely go check out what people have done. I think we have like 35 entries. Trying to keep it a little small for the first time to see how things work out. But seems like it's a lot of interest in that. And it's just a cool way to trade Pokemon cards.
Yeah, it really is. Got to collect them all. Get your favorite dyers work.
So, I know this is getting very long, but next section, advice for aspiring disc dyers. What advice would you give someone looking to start their own disc dyeing business right now?
Value yourself and your time. Be organized. You really I cannot emphasize enough that so much of your time is going to be communicating with clients. You have to be willing to do that part. You have to, and you have to be somewhat good at it. It definitely can be learned. It can be learned and practiced, but you're going to spend a lot of time not dyeing discs if you want this to be a business. You're going to have to do accounting. You're going to have to do taxes. You're going to have to do spreadsheets. It's going to be a lot more than just dyeing discs. So think about if you really, really want that, or if you want it to just be a fun side gig that you can do casually. Making it a business is going to be a big commitment, and it's not going to be just the glory parts. It can be done. I'm not discouraging you. Just be aware of all the elements.
Yes, and that's the reason why I'm doing these videos, is to give an insight of what it actually takes to run a disc dyeing business successfully and all the aspects that go along with it. And there are going to be the business side of things, and you're going to spend 75% of the time not dyeing discs, doing the business side of things.
Yeah, so really calculate, okay, if I'm selling discs for this much, how many hours, how many discs am I going to have to make in a year to make enough money to quit my job?
Yeah.
And then remember that a lot of that time is going to go towards other things. So just something to really think about.
Yeah. I go back to when I'm a photographer, the prices seem high, but the photographer does more than just click a button at a photo shoot. They have
100%.
the pre-production, the post-production, the client interaction. So there's a lot more stuff behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a man behind the curtain, and that man is you, and you're on duty all the time.
Mm-hmm. What do you wish you had known when you first started your disc dyeing business? Let me ask you this. What would you do differently now, knowing what you know now?
I don't know if I could do it differently, because I think that the journey is a part of it. It really is. I think you just kind of have to learn as you go and adapt and make it better and make it more streamlined and figure certain things out by trial and error. Like I've touched on a lot of the errors that you can make already, but
what resources or communities would you recommend for learning and improving?
The Dyers Guild Facebook community page has been awesome. Everybody's been very down to earth and cool and helpful. I think that's really important to build that community. And then find some dyers that inspire you. Reach out to them. Don't be afraid to ask questions or communicate with them. And then also find some dyers that are maybe at a similar level or pace as you, and like, or just somebody you vibe with, someone you connect with, and have a little group chat or a little back and forth with them, because having that extra support and someone to bounce things off of is so valuable. I think that has kept me alive and happy and like balanced. It's just having someone to throw ideas at and also just like show off and just like be like, look at what I made. I'm so proud of this. And they'll be like, yeah, you did so good. Like having that kind of support is just, it's invaluable.
Yeah. It's nice to have a soundboard. Like again, the Facebook group is a good thing. We have a Discord, or again, just starting a small group chat with other dyers that you like and vibe with. Because again, it's a good soundboard, and it can give you a pulse of what's going on in the dyeing world. So.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Those trades can facilitate that. Like doing some trades with people, you can kind of, sometimes it leads to a little friendship or connection.
Yes. All right. We're at the end. We got some final thoughts. That's my final thought. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about your journey or the disc dyeing business in general?
I think I've been very surprised at how much this has captured me. I am one of those people who always collected hobbies, and it was often artistic. But what has stuck for me for disc dyeing is that when you get sick of one thing or you want to switch it up, it's so easy to be like, I'm going to do something completely different today. And just like, there's just so much variety in it. And it just like really keeps me interested. So it's good for us maybe ADD people who are a little bit all over the place to find something to focus on and make sure you keep that happy part of it. If it starts to become too stressful, then find a way to make it less stressful and keep that happiness. Don't let it become all work or all commissions or lose yourself in that. Make sure you keep your creative mind happy and content while trying to make money off of it.
Yeah. Just think of why you started dyeing discs and don't lose that, because that can suck if you do lose that. And, you know, maybe disc dyeing was your outlet for something to help you cope with something, and now it's a job, which that would suck. Don't do that. All right. Well, this was very useful information. I liked hearing your perspective, even though you think you're not qualified. You are, in my mind, really qualified. So yeah, hopefully this can help some of you guys out there on your disc dyeing business journey, if you do want to pursue that. and hopefully give you some insights of what it all entails. And hopefully it didn't scare you away. It's not meant to scare you away. Again, it's not for everybody, but anything is possible. So if Brittany can do it, you can do it too. Where can people find you if they wanted to maybe contact you or look at some of your work?
Sure. On Instagram, I have an account called Ugly Hand Dyes. On Facebook, it's Ugly Hand Disc Dyes. So those are good places to reach me. You can also check out the Underground Platteville or the Underground Galena if you're in the Midwest.
Fantastic. So again, thank you very much, Brittany, for your time. Your insight is always invaluable. And until next time, guys, find your line, craft your piece.
Craft your piece.
Yeah. We got to say it together now. All right. Thank you.